Hello, everyone, and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Surprise Sunday, so we have special things happening today. We have a wonderful guest. We have Dawn Boyer, who is a fantastic artist and the illustrator of these wonderful, wonderful books. And we're just going to sit here and chat today. We're not going to color or anything else, so you actually get to see my pretty face. Isn't that fun? And of course, my corner. So Dawn, if you want to introduce yourself and all that fun stuff, that'd be fantastic.
Okay, well, I'll give you a short or medium length history of my life and my art background. Uh, when I was about 5 or 6 years old is when I started coloring and drawing. My parents actually still have some um, images of my little scribbles from when I was 5 years old in my baby book. And I've been drawing and painting all through my life. Art is just a passion. And I got my Bachelor of Fine Arts degree from Radford University. I started off at Virginia Commonwealth University, but quit there and then went on to Radford. I couldn't make a living as an artist after I earned my BFA, so I ended up going into business for myself, cleaning houses, and then got bored in the evenings with nothing to do, so went back and got my master's degree in adult education, and that headed into a career in human resources. So for the next 20 or so years, I was a human resources manager. And then my employer in Norfolk, Virginia, decided to close up shop, and they were moving their offices up to Northern Virginia. And I didn't want to move my family or anything. My kids were almost finished with high school, and my husband had a business. So I came home one day and looked him in the eye and said, "I think I'll go back for my PhD." And he just blinked twice and said, "Okay, honey, go for it." So 3.5 years after that, I achieved my PhD, and the short answer is education. And then I decided after I got my PhD, I really didn't want to teach. I wanted to stay in business, rewriting resumes and helping people with job searches and get more back into my art. So about that time, I think it was about 2010, I saw a magazine article with Huffington Post out of DC on Joanne Basford reaching her millionth sale for coloring books. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, I've got gobs and gobs and gobs of pictures and sketches and things that I've saved through all the years as an artist. And I thought, I'll just throw those together into a book and create a coloring book. And then I was thinking, well, maybe these sketches of naked people that I had in my art classes are not people want to color.
Sure, why not?
I noticed that a lot of people were into mandalas. So I started designing some mandalas and put those out. And honestly, my first couple of coloring books were not that great. I was just sort of feeling my way around, not quite sure what people wanted to color. Should I make the lines dark and thick or light and hair thin? And then started looking around for some ideas that would really grab hold, that people would really be tickled to color. Mm-hmm. So I developed a theory of, I saw a lot of artists that were out there drawing fairy books. And they had as the main topic fairies. And I'm not very good at drawing people, but I'm great at drawing architecture. So I thought, well, fairy houses, fairy doors, that might be something people might get tickled, and I could be creative with it. And it doesn't have to be realistic looking to a certain degree.
Right.
And so I started drawing my fairy houses and fairy doors books. And I'm the type of person that likes to give more than I get. So I made this decision to essentially put no less than 50 illustrations in each one of my coloring books. So 250 plus drawings later, I have a series of fairy houses and fairy doors books, volume 1 through 5. And the last two, the volume 4 and 5, I think, are probably my favorite because I was really developing some better drawing skills by then. And I also used images of people that are in my life to put onto the faces of the fairies.
Oh, nice.
So I used my step grandchildren, my grandchildren, some of my fans. They had pictures that I sort of drew on the
That's
fairy
cool.
faces. So it got to be fun. But after 250 drawings of fairy houses and fairy doors, I'm like, okay, I think I'm done with this topic.
5 books is enough.
Yeah, yeah.
I've only got 1 through here with 1 through 3 here with me.
Mhm.
I have 2 in the mail. Number 4 and 5 are in the mail, so
Mhm.
those will be a surprise. But I have reviewed 1 through 3, and they're absolutely adorable. I just
Mhm.
absolutely love them. I think number 3 so far is my favorite. So if number 4 and 5 are your favorite, then I can't wait to see them.
Yeah, I think they say that you need to put I think it's like 10,000 hours or 5,000 hours. No, I think it's 10,000 hours into something to become an expert at it. And so that's like essentially 5 years of
Mhm.
effort of work in developing a skill. And so I think 10 years later, I think I finally got my drawing skills back up to speed from
Awesome.
when I was in high school and college. And that 30-year gap between my BFA degree and getting back into my art studio and really having fun with it recently is definitely got my skills rusty.
Yeah. And you were saying that you are finishing a house that you bought that you're refurbishing, and you're going to be able to have your own studio again. How exciting is that?
I am so looking forward to that. My husband and I bought a house in Gloucester, Virginia, and we call it the farm, although there's no animals or crops on it, but it's almost 11 acres.
Wow.
And when we bought it, the house needed some massive renovations. So since August of last year, we've been picking at it every weekend, doing one little piece at a time, and we're hoping to get it almost there for habitability. Right now, we're actually living in a closet on mattresses on the floor on the
Oh dear.
weekends. But the art studio, we're going all out. We're insulating a 900 square foot garage. We're going to put some sliding French doors in where the garage doors are,
Oh,
adding a couple
nice.
more windows. We're going to put an epoxy floor in, and we're going to rip out all the cabinets in the old kitchen and put them up in the garage for me to store
Hmm.
all my supplies. And when we're done, we will have a air conditioned, heated, bright light from the west and the north, 900 square foot area for me to play with all my art and my art supplies. So
I can't wait to see what comes out of there. I really
it's
can't.
going to be a dream come true for me, truly. So I'm excited.
How many chandeliers are going to be in there?
I don't know how many chandeliers, but I think there's like 16 candle lights right now where there was like 4 fluorescents before.
One big chandelier right in the middle there.
Where there's this massive beam that's holding up the mother-in-law suite upstairs. So I don't think I'm going to have my chandelier. I may reserve that for my bathroom.
Walk-in closet. It's always
Yeah.
fun to have a nice little tiny chandelier in the walk-in closet.
I don't know if my husband would like that.
Nobody else is going to see it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's not like anybody is going to know that there's bling in there.
Yeah.
So what started you in um not only drawing? I know that you started young with drawing, but you went into education and that sort of thing and went back into drawing. Um, what were your first books about? Were they just your pictures that you had before, or did you start brand new type of things?
Uh, if I remember correctly, I think I initially put out a couple of mandala books, and then I took some of my sketches that were just line art drawings and put them into like a coloring book of just general stuff. I think it's still out there on Amazon. I haven't checked because I've written and published so many books. That's one of the things I do on a sideline is I not only publish books of my own, a lot of them recently have been genealogy lineage books, but I help other authors with their manuscripts, with editing and publishing and getting them out there on Amazon. I also create private books for people. I've helped two people create memoirs where they didn't want to sell them, but they wanted to hardcover books to pass out to their family members.
Okay, so
And
like lineage books type thing.
well, this was actually a memoir.
Oh, very cool.
The most recent one that I did was it was an intelligence analyst who works up in DC who was working for some three-letter government agencies. And he was also in the Air Force, and he went over to Afghanistan a couple of times for some undercover duty and stuff like that. So I can't really
Yeah,
share much
no,
more
I
about it.
completely understand.
You'd have to kill me if I told on it.
Exactly.
But
And we really don't want that to happen on the channel, please.
but
If I see a little red dot, I'll be going like this.
that's funny you say that because I have this little cat laser beam.
Oh my goodness.
It's like, I'm sorry,
Sitting here going like this.
But
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
I worked with him for about he'd been writing his memoir for about 3 years, and I worked with him over the last 6 months to help him get the book edited and add pictures, and then publish it privately so that he could buy a couple of copies and pass to his daughters. And he was thrilled to death. It was like almost 400 pages, so it was a lot of work between the both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And another one of my clients had been writing poetry that had a religious bent to it for 20 years. And she'd always wanted, one of her bucket list items was to get her poetry published. So I think it was about 2.5, 3 years ago, I worked with her carefully and helped her publish a book of her poetry, and each one of her poems has like an introductory story to explain what the poem was about.
Right.
And one of the poems was about her father, and every time I read that poem, I just cry because it just brings back memories of my own father. And so she in her own manner is very financially well off, so she didn't want to publish the book to get rich off royalties. But what she does is the royalties that do come in from the book, she donates it to charity. So she was telling me she was able to write a huge check to the Lottie Moon mission that I think works out of China right after she published, within 3 or 4 months after publishing her book. And a lot of people just loved it. So that's what I do for my bread and butter money. So
well, then how many coloring books do you have published?
I've got 118 out there on Amazon, and I have 2 more that are in the works right now. The most recent 2 books that I put together were grayscale images of vintage children, vintage and antique children. What I did about a couple of years ago was when I was able to get away from my mother and caretaking for her while she had Alzheimer's, my sister would come down like once a month or every other week and relieve me of duty, so to speak. And I love
give you some me time.
Yeah. So I love antique shopping. I mean, if there's an antique store, I'm going to hit the brakes and go in and check out what's there.
You and me both.
So I stumbled across this pile of photographs, studio cards that were over 100 years old. of children and babies. And I thought to myself, I would love, and I bet you there's people out there that would just love to color these because they're already grayscale. They have the shading in them already. So they'd be really easy just to apply the top coat of color tinting to make them look like old-timey hand-tinted photographs.
Mm-hmm.
So the most recent books I just put out were volume 1 and volume 2 of beautiful vintage babies and children. And they're, I think, 50 to 55 pictures in each book, and they're on a cream colored paper. So they have this sepia undertone to
Oh
it.
yeah, okay.
So people could go in and color them, and they will look like the old timey pictures that people put up on their mantels back in the Victorian and Civil War era days.
Oh, very cool. And you have 2 more in the works of those, or?
Yeah, I'm working on volume 3 of the Colonial District, the restored Colonial District pictures in Williamsburg, Virginia. Um, I have to be careful how I describe it because they
Mm-hmm.
have a trademark on certain names or
Right.
certain words. Like if you use the word Williamsburg by itself, that's trademarked.
Ah,
Colonial Williamsburg is trademarked by the entity. So I have to say the restored district in the city of
yeah.
Williamsburg, Virginia. But Williamsburg, Virginia was a go-to place for my parents to take me and all the relatives that came to visit as I was growing up. We were in Richmond. Williamsburg was 40 minutes away, and it was a day trip, and it was just infused with history. And my father, at one point, was a salesperson for Biggs Antique Reproduction Company, which took all the old antique furniture that was in Williamsburg and reproduced it for people who wanted that type of furniture in their home, but they couldn't afford the original furniture.
For sure, yeah.
So my dad filled up our house with the antique reproductions, and we'd go to Williamsburg and we'd take pictures. And I just loved the architecture there. I just, because I grew up around the type of historic furniture. The houses that I lived in were like the Williamsburg style. I loved the area. I loved the costumes, the history. History is another big hobby of mine. I just love history and
Me
stories.
too.
So I started drawing back when I was in my Radford University years. Some of the houses from some of the pictures I had taken in Williamsburg. And over the years, I've just started collecting this huge number of illustrations that I've done of the area. So I put one book out there, and it seemed to be a really big hit for people who loved Williamsburg. And I recently put a second book out. I think it was earlier this year. I think I finally finished enough illustrations to do a volume 2. And I keep having people tell me, "Oh, I love those books. When are you going to do another one?" So just recently I started another set. And, like I told you earlier, it's 50 illustrations in
It
each
takes a
book.
little while.
So I think I've got like 5 or 6 completed in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And it usually takes about 3 months for me to complete 50 high quality illustrations.
Yeah.
And so I'm working on that one. And then another book that I'm playing around with. And I told you earlier that I am not good at drawing faces and bodies and people.
Right.
So I'm sort of forcing myself into this one. I'm drawing a book of images of people that are wearing masks, and these masks
Okay.
are like Mardi Gras type masks,
Mhm.
or the Italian Carnival Venice
Mhm.
masks. And so I'm going to be calling that mastique or mysterious mastique or something like that to indicate that they're real ornate masks on these beautiful women
Right.
or people.
Wonderful. I really like masks. I think that they're the ones from the early Victorian eras and the masquerade balls and stuff like that are just absolutely gorgeous.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I was going to ask you another question. Now I can't remember what it was. Oh, do you hold coloring contests for all of your books? Because I noticed that in these three and probably the other two, there was a coloring contest to get the front cover and the back cover,
Yeah,
and
the answer is almost. When I put like the Mastique book out, I will definitely run a coloring book contest for the cover. When I first did the first Fairy Houses and Fairy Doors books, and how I do this, how I run the contest is I go into coloring book groups and get permission, written permission or verbal approval from
Mhm.
the administrators to post about the contest.
Right?
And most of them are pretty generous to say, oh yeah, go ahead, because I'll provide anywhere from 3 to 4, maybe 5 illustrations for free
Hmm.
in a PDF and post that in the group and say, okay, I'm back. I've got another contest running. Get your entry in within the next 2 or 3 weeks, and you have a chance to win money. And I will pay them the winners cash. I think the most recent is like $80 for the front cover and $40 for the back cover.
Cool.
Plus, the front cover winner gets 5 books with their cover on the front, and the second place winner gets 2 books. So I don't just draw a winner and they just get the privilege of seeing their artwork on the covers. They get paid for their effort, and they get compensated with covers of the books so that they can pass them around or have them in their hands and say, "Oh, I look what I did." So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah. So
That is so
I
cool.
tell you, some of the entries that come in lately, in the last 2 years, it has been hard to choose.
Oh, I bet.
And how I get around having to really stress about it is I have a jury panel. So I've got anywhere from 5 to 10 people who have volunteered to help me pick the winners, and they all have a little bit of an artistic or an aesthetic background, so they can see, oh yeah, this picture would look great on the front cover of a coloring book. So they will, pick and choose. I'll let them vote. So it's not a popularity contest. So if you have like 200 friends that could go in and like it,
Yeah.
I don't like those kind of
No.
contests. And I don't like random drawings, because a random drawing may come up with the worst coloring entry that gets submitted.
Yeah.
So
And this is a profession. It does have to reflect your profession. So
yes. And I've had some very interesting winners. I've had some out of Australia. I've had some out of Romania. I've had some in South America. I've got a predominant number out of the Philippines.
yeah, I was going to say I think the volume three.
Vermilene Barrios has won several of my
Yeah.
cover contests. There's a couple of others that Kathy Balsam, I'm going to crucify her name,
Yeah.
and another couple. There's a young gentleman over there who's an artist that just phenomenal work. I could not have asked for anything better if I gave him direction.
Yeah. Um, the this one here,
Yes, that's
it,
Vermilene's. Yes.
Vermilia. Okay, so I was pronouncing her name very wrong.
And I don't even
And
know if
I'm
I'm pronouncing
so
it right.
sorry. But it's gorgeous. It's absolutely fantastic. The depth that she's put into it is just phenomenal.
Yeah, and she's only gotten better over the years. I've seen some of her work floating around on Facebook, and holy cow, and I think she's actually drawn a coloring book of herself. I think the title of it is Women of De-Stress. So she's emphasizing the word, de-stressing while you're coloring, but the
Yeah,
women that she's drawn are just beautiful.
cool. I'll have to look because she's a phenomenal colorist.
Yes, she is.
Absolutely phenomenal colorist.
Mhm.
Actually, all of them are. I just love all the covers of the books, and the ones on the back in the background are just wonderful too. So
Yeah.
I
You can
don't
see
know.
how it's hard to choose.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't know how you chose because just the coloring contest that we have in the group, it's very very difficult to choose.
Mhm.
And to be what's the word?
Unbiased.
Unbiased, yes, exactly. And to
Mm-hmm.
choose off of merit and everything else is difficult too, because we have so many different people that are just starting out in their coloring adventure, and people like myself who are 2 or 3 years into our coloring adventure and just starting to understand the different complexities of coloring.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, then you throw grayscale in there and everything else is all just messed up.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I know how hard it is just to choose a colorist from our little tiny coloring
Mm-hmm.
adventure, never mind something that is going on the shelves and you know, actually presenting your name,
Yep.
which,
Now, I do have another two coloring books that I've put out recently. I think within the last year and a half, or two or three or four, I put them out like maybe at the rate of every 3 months, I guess, on average, the last couple of years. One of them, I think, is my total overall favorite coloring
oh,
book of all, and that's the one that's called Compass Roses, and that has flowers, it has animals, it has sea life, fauna, ships, all kinds of stuff, but they're all focused around a compass like emblem that's in the middle of the page or on the side of the page. So
yeah.
definitely my favorite of all.
I I actually I don't know if it's yours. It came to me from um, Color It. Color It sent me sends me every Friday, Friday freebie.
Yeah, I see those. No, I've not. I don't think I've given one to Color It yet,
But
unless I did and I forgot.
but I love this. It turned out just wonderfully.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think that's mine, but it looks sort of similar to some of the ones I've done. Yeah,
It,
it's really close to my style, but not quite.
but it was so much fun to color it.
Hmm.
And I just love coloring this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Another one I did is a heart-shaped locket watch
Hmm.
with roses all around it, and
Right.
that was really fun to color too. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my all-time favorite. And then I also put out one called Color My 2020 Sketchbook. And that's where I just said, I'm not going to pick a topic or a theme. I'm just going to throw anything and everything in there. So, that
yeah, that's pretty much what 2020 was, wasn't
yeah,
it?
it was.
Just throw everything in there, might as well.
Yeah, so that one I sort of enjoyed because I didn't have to stick to a theme or I didn't have to put up with a topic or do 50 drawings of that one thing and just get tired of it all, after
Yeah.
the fifth drawing. So I liked that. And then if any of your group members or your viewers of the interview have had animals that have passed away recently,
Hmm.
I had a real good feedback on the two volumes of All Animals Go to Heaven. And what I
Oh,
did,
yeah.
I drew everything from horses and dogs and cats and armadillos and bugs and you name it, and I put angel wings on them all. So all these animals have gone to heaven, and they're angels with little wings on their backs and stuff like that. So that's
That
that's
is really cute.
yeah, I love that. And so, I've got a notebook that I actually, every time I have a idea for a new book, I've got a notebook that's like books I want to do.
I
So
was
it's like
going to ask
page
you.
after page after page of ideas of things that I want to do in my next coloring books.
I was going to ask you what's coming up and how do you keep track of it all? Because you have so many books out there. How do you keep track of them all?
Sometimes people will mention a coloring book that I did, and I went, "Oh, I forgot I did that." And what was interesting is I was telling my husband the other day, I said, "Oh, look, this woman did a flip through of my first fairy houses and fairy doors book. I forgot those pictures. I forgot I'd drawn that." So I'm sitting there enjoying looking through the flip through because I'd forgotten I drew those pictures.
Wow.
I mean, they were like, I think you said they were 2010 or 2011.
2015, I think it
Oh,
was.
okay. Yeah. So, I forget what I've drawn, 6 months
I,
later because I'm knee deep in my next topic.
and and like I said, they're absolutely wonderful little pictures. And as you watch through each book and you see different pictures that you saw in the first book, and the development as it goes along is just so wonderful.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that.
Yeah. I was a little worried about using some of the same pictures from the first book and the second book because people would say, "Oh, you cheated. You just used the same thing." But the
No.
pictures in the first book, I thought they just need something more. And if I could use them and draw some more on them and add to them, then they're different pictures now. So,
Yeah, it's like that's development, right? That's how, how you just keep on moving that art up.
yeah,
Like I've seen people draw the same fairy, 6 billion times and stick her in different surroundings,
yeah,
It's the same thing, right?
yep, yep.
So, yeah. So I so yeah, I think it was 2015 was when
Okay,
this first book came out. And I was just
okay.
looking through the information. I love, love, love how much information you have in the front of your books.
Yeah,
It
I
is
definitely
just
do.
so cool.
I don't think anybody else does that. But with my master's and PhD in education, I just feel like, yeah, I got to tell people something about this, that, or the other, and I want to educate them a little bit.
Yep.
And one of the coloring books I've put out is called Tasty Tea for You and Me. And I've got the history of tea. I've got several pages of how to do tea reading.
Oh,
So
wow.
so it's sort of like divining or something like that. Some people may think it's pagan, but it's just fun. You put tea leaves in your cup, you finish drinking your tea, and you swish it around and look at the shapes that are in the bottom. And there's like a whole dozens and dozens of little pictures that you could color if you want to, that sort of are indicative of the shapes you could find in your teacup. Not exactly, but they're just sort of symbolic.
Yep.
And then there's recipes for different kinds of tea, like the chai tea and the Thai tea, different kinds of teas and what you would drink them for health purposes.
Oh,
And
wow.
then a little history of how the tea is grown and where they came from and how the process is done. So it's a relatively thick book. It's more, I would say it's like 20% research and historic information and 80% coloring book.
That actually is right up my alley. I like that. I'm going to have to look for that one because I enjoy herbal tea.
Mhm.
My son, oldest son, he really really likes his red rose tea, and that's it.
Mhm.
Um, but I have a blooming tea kettle and all those different herbal teas, and I really really enjoy
Mhm.
them. But it's hard to find information about a lot of them
Yeah.
in one area where it's not constantly conflicting with everything else.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you just have to take everything with a grain of salt. One of the most recent things is the turmeric spice tea is something that you could take as a supplement to reduce your pain and aches and stuff like that. And that one I could swear to. I take turmeric supplements for my arthritis, and
Mhm.
it's helped a lot. So
Where
I
do you
know
get
it's
those?
you can order them online from Amazon. They're just little yellow capsules with the turmeric spice in it. Or you could go to the store and buy a big old can of it and just add it to your meats or vegetables while you're
Yeah,
cooking.
I add it to everything, but I have psoriatic arthritis.
Hmm.
So I don't know how much it helps with that kind of
Hmm.
arthritis, because with psoriatic arthritis, it's the psoriasis growing in between the joints and spreading the
Yeah.
joints. So it's a little bit different than um,
just
Normal, regular arthritis.
old
So
age stuff.
yeah, it could be old age stuff on top of it. I don't know. I'm getting there. But I noticed the pain in my knees, excuse me, started getting worse and worse and worse the more my psoriasis kicked up. So
Mhm.
it's one of those lovely things that you go through as you get older.
Tell me about it. Yep, I'm there.
Already there. Yeah, we've seen that boat sail, waved it off. So, what has the future in store for you other than lots and lots of renovations and more books?
Well, as soon as I get my art studio, I think I'm going to advance to the larger projects. I'd love to get back into painting. I love the large canvases. I'm working also on rock tumbling, which I use for glass to make sea glass pieces. I did a lot of that back when I was taking care of my mom, and I've got like these huge mason jars full of pseudo sea glass that I've made from wine bottles and beer bottles and all different kinds of colors of glass. And so, I've got the glass. It's just waiting for something to be done to it.
Cool. So you're going to be making furnitures with it, or just pictures, or
I'm not sure. It's like I'm the type of person that I get all the pieces and parts put together before I figure out what I want to do with them.
and then the inspiration hits you on what
Yeah.
you're going to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like doing upcycling of furniture too. If somebody has a dresser they're about ready to put out on the street because they just don't like it anymore, but it's in decent shape, I'll go. I'll take it. I'll take it,
Hmm.
and I'll strip it down. I'll sand it. I'll restain it. Put some kind of designs or colors or something on it. I'm not too terribly fond of painting wood furniture.
Yeah.
And I know some people are really into it, and some of the pieces that they do paint are, the wood just needs to be painted over.
Needs
It's
to
that
be. Yeah.
ugly. But I'm the type of person that, like I said earlier, I'm into the Williamsburg type of reproduction furniture, and I love the old pieces, the classic lines, and that sort of thing. What are you
I,
doing here?
I like the wood look. Oh, it's a kitty kitty.
Yep, this is this Yoshi.
That was good. That was going to be one of my questions coming up was how many pets do you have? And, you know, how many more are you going to put on that 11 acres?
Well, I have two cats now, and the number's limited because my husband loves me, but he doesn't love animals, so he tolerates them in the house, which I love him. I love him for. I have Miss Yoshi, which is the long hair calico, and then I have a little tuxedo, a black tuxedo cat with a little bib right down
Mhm.
here, and in fact, her name is Miss Bibbs. And she's a cranky cat. She doesn't like a lot of handling or touching or anything like that. So right now I'm topped out at two. And when we get to the farm, I don't believe in leaving cats to wander around
Yeah.
outside. I just think that's almost inhumane to leave them out in the cold
It's
or
dangerous.
yeah, and out on the farm, we've got some hawks and eagles that are bigger than the cats and would have them for lunch.
Yeah.
So my husband's sort of tickled about the fact that I've asked him when we get down to the farm permanently, could he please build me a catio,
Oh,
which
yeah.
the little screened-in
Yep.
cage out on the porch for the cats. And he's all over it.
Oh,
He's like,
yeah.
"Oh yeah, if we can get the cats out of the house." I'm like, "No, no, no, that doesn't mean they're out of
No,
the house."
no, that's just a place for them to hang out where they can be outside.
And I have a feeling they're going to be out on the catio as long as the weather's warm, for
Oh,
9
yeah.
months out of the year. So
Yeah.
that will make him happy, my husband, as well as the cats.
Well, it'll make the cats happy too. It just, make sure that you have a nice place for you to sit out there too, because, they're going to miss mama.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I tell you, the one thing I love about the farm, we truly have what they call the classic farmhouse.
Oh,
There's
nice.
two huge porches, one on the east side, which is probably 25 feet long and about 6 or 8 feet deep. And then we have one that's even longer on the side of the house, which is now the official front of the house. And I think that porch is probably 40 feet long, about 6 or 7 feet deep. And I've got rockers and chairs on
Wow.
both porches. And we go
Oh,
out
I
there
would so
on
love that.
yeah, we go out there on the weekend in the morning and just sit there and just listen to the quiet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's wonderful.
I'll introduce you to my pet if she is on the couch. Shyla. Shyla, come see Mama. Shyla, want a cookie? She says no. I don't care. You gave me a bone earlier. Shyla. Oh, you going to come say hi? Are you going to come say hi? Let's see if I can get her a picture of her. I'm going to turn this a little bit. You get to see her. Shyla.
Oh, is she part husky?
She's a wolf Malamute.
Okay.
Shyla. Shyla, come see Mom. Look up. Say hello.
Oh, she's beautiful.
And she's 12.
Oh,
And then over there, we have 2 sugar gliders.
oh, really?
And those are our pets.
Oh, I bet they are. I love sugar gliders.
They are cranky during the day.
Oh, they're not nocturnal, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both sleeping in their nest right now.
Okay.
We have Fred and Wilma.
Oh, love it.
Yeah. We got Fred first, and I don't know if you listen to country music, but there's a country music comedian who sings a song. It's called, I don't know what her name was, so we just called her Fred. It's called the Fred song.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, just look up the Fred song.
Okay.
And so we had him for a couple of days, and we could not figure out a name. So I said, okay, well, and then we heard the Fred song. And I said, well, I guess his name's Fred because we don't know what his name is. And that's how Fred got named. And then a couple of years after we got Fred, we got Wilma. And because Fred is Fred, we couldn't name Wilma Fred. Although, if you listen to the song, you'll understand what the although is.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I used to listen to country music all the time, but I'm the sort of type of person that when I'm doing my day job during the day is writing resumes for folks. And I prefer like absolute quiet, peaceful, not a sound in the house so I can concentrate and put all my brain power into what I'm doing, because when you're working for other people, you've got to give 110%.
That's right.
And, so I don't have any distractions. But after hours, I love turning on YouTube and listening to jazz music, or the Celtic singing or music with the Celtic singers. That's one of my favorites. But my husband and I both appreciate jazz, and we'll get in the truck and turn on the iPod and listen to jazz going down the road.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that music feeds the soul, and my husband has always been a country boy, and even out in the city he's definitely country. So we listen to quite a bit of country music. He does listen to the younger old stuff from when I was young. But every once in a while we'll hear AC/DC come out of the office and go, where is he? What have you done with my husband? Every once in a while. It's worse when Creedence Clearwater comes out of there or something. It's like, what have you done to my husband? But that's all the joys of marriage. It was-
Yeah, it
a-
is.
After 12 or 13 years, they still come up with something that makes you go,
Yeah.
huh?
Well, my husband was telling me he sometimes listens to classical music in his truck on the way to work. I'm like, really? I would not have thought that you'd listen to that, because we're more of a talk radio type of couple. We like listening to politics and talk radio and opinions and stuff like that. So, when he was turning on the classical music station, I'm like, whoa, that's a surprise.
Yeah, it's soothing and relaxing.
Mhm.
And with I enjoy the talk radios and stuff like that myself because it gives you something to think about. It's not a constant noise. I find
Mhm.
that TV a lot of time, especially with TV shows, it's just a constant noise,
Yeah.
and there's not really any sort of brain
Yeah.
function
Well,
necessary.
here's a parallel to that. When my husband and I moved from, after we sold my mother's house and moved into our two new homes in Colonial Beach and Gloucester, I told him, I said, well, until we get settled down and we've got all this renovation to do, let's just not even get any TV cable or internet or Fios or anything like that, and just live without it for a while. And it was a little bit of getting used to, because every night we used to sit down, watch the news, and then look at some, Fox News channel, and pop around and look at some movies and stuff like that. So at the farm, we have no internet access at all. I mean, we are within eyeshot of a Verizon cell phone tower, but there's no internet. And up at the Colonial Beach, we have the internet, and we have one of those smart TVs, so we could go in and watch a Netflix movie or something, or go onto YouTube and look at a movie on there or something
Right.
like that. But it's amazing how much more work we're able to get done, because we don't sit down in front of the TV and just sit there for 4 hours every night like zombies watching the boob tube.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It has been so long since I heard anybody call it that.
That's what
I
my dad used to call it.
That's my dad still calls it. I do too. It's like, when I see the kids zoning out on it, it's like, yeah, okay, just watch the boob tube a little longer.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean the boob tube? I says, well, what do you think you look like sitting there? You're a boob.
Yeah, it's very few people in America today that don't have a TV in their living room, or in their den, that they look at and constantly, and you just sort of wonder, how much could you get accomplished if you had that 4 hours back every night?
Yeah.
And so I'll sit in front of my tablet, and this is my most wonderful drawing tool right now, is my
Mhm.
Apple iTablet, the 12-inch one with the Apple Pencil.
Yeah.
And I use Procreate as the drawing software. And it's Procreate, oh my gosh, it does everything but wash the kitchen sink. And I may not have found that part of it yet, but it's an amazing drawing software app. And I basically went from using the pen and ink, the actual pens on paper to draw my drawings, to using everything, to drawing digital drawings now.
Okay.
And I've improved a lot in my drawing, because I'm a sloppy drawer. And when I'm using pens, if I miss something, or my pen shakes and I get a line in there that I don't want, I just get really frustrated, and you can't cover it up. I mean, you could try to use an X-Acto knife to scratch the ink off and get some white out and try to fix it, but it's pretty much done. But with the digital drawing tools, you go back, you erase it and start all over, and it's
Not a
beautiful.
problem. Yeah. Another artist I know, she uses the Wacom or Wacom.
Yeah, the Wacom tablet. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's sort of like I don't know, about 24 by 18 or something like that. And my daughter in California just bought one, and she says, yeah, it costs $1,200, but it is worth every penny.
Yeah.
She does a lot of simulation modeling on the computer with some really expensive software, and this is a hobby for her. But she is just in love with it, and I'm sort of jealous because I'm thinking that might be the next thing I want to buy.
They do have a smaller one. I think it's a 12-inch one or something like that. And it's like something
Yeah,
like $1,200 or something like that.
yeah. Well, I would want the bigger one
Yeah.
because I want the bigger surface to draw on.
Exactly. Yeah. I know she wants to get the bigger one. I think she was just trying it out and to see how it would work and if she would be
Mhm.
able to understand it and stuff like that. And I think she's
Right.
working towards getting the bigger one now. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, she loves it. She is like I I'm on the fence with them because a lot of colorists and it's probably my own insecurities in my ability. I see a lot of colorists using them to color, and to me, that's not coloring.
Yeah, the I had the same opinion, and there are some people that they'll purposely buy the PDFs so they could use it on their digital coloring
Devices, yeah.
apps. Yeah, and the Christmas book that I put out, no, I take that back. The Beautiful Babies and Vintage Children books that I just got out. There's a young lady out there by the name of Donna Sugra, Sugra.
Yeah, I've seen
And
her stuff.
I've actually, she does some
Oh yeah,
amazing digital coloring. So she's helped me out in one of my Christmas coloring books about a year and a half ago. And so I contacted her and said, look, I'm trying to get these books out quick. I don't have time to run a coloring contest. Can I pay you to do the covers? And she's like, oh, I'd love to. And the feeling is mutual. She loves my artwork and my
yeah,
drawings. And so the problem that a lot of my fans have with my work is they're all in books. I don't put out PDFs. And the big reason for that is I'm a little scared that these Eastern Chinese, Eastern Asia people are going to pirate the work and
yeah.
start putting them out. But I'm thinking very seriously of going back to my oldest books and start putting them out on my Etsy shop because they've probably generated all the royalties or revenue they're going to on the paperback books. So now it might be okay and safe for me to put them out on Etsy. So, but yeah, Donna Sugra is a great colorist. She
Oh,
uses
she is
digital
gorgeous.
coloring tools,
Yeah,
and she's good. It doesn't look like it's just fill in the box with the colors. She
yeah,
actually takes her time to shade and shape and do some amazing work. So,
yeah.
yeah, I've changed my mind about people that do digital
I
coloring.
I keep on
Although,
going back and forth on it
yeah,
because it all depends upon the program you're using.
yeah,
It depends upon whether or not it's a advanced program or if it's a basic program. Because
yeah.
my husband took one of my pictures and colored it in 10 minutes on one of the apps and said, "See, I can color too." It's like, get away from me. Don't even go there.
Yeah.
Something it took me 4 hours just to color one little tiny corner of took him 10 minutes to finish the entire page.
Oh
It's
my
like,
God.
just go away.
Now, the one thing about the digital coloring is I don't do or don't allow digital coloring for my coloring book contests.
Right.
And the reason for that is most people want to use the hands-on artist materials versus digital coloring.
Mhm.
And the digital colorists sometimes would have an unfair advantage in the coloring contest
Right.
because of their skill level. So I like to make it on a fairly even basis for even the beginners to possibly have a chance to win the coloring
Right.
contest for the covers. And in the pack of contest entries, I usually try to have a very simple drawing as well as a complicated drawing, and then maybe a couple that are in between.
Right.
Um, my illustrations and my style are that I can't stop sometimes when I get to coloring an illustration. And instead of just having 3 simple lines, I have to have 30 and different various, the hatching and the stippling
Mhm.
and that sort of thing. So a lot of people will look at my artwork and the first thing that comes to mind is, oh, that's going to be too complicated for me to color. There's a lot of details that I've added. And I think you've pointed that out in some of the videos that,
Yeah.
there's a lot of details.
And I really enjoy artists that put quite a bit of fine detail in. Um, it helps understand where the light source is coming from. It helps, that like the picture that I colored in book number one. Um, the the way that the shadowing is on the front of the house shows you where that light is coming from and where it's hitting that house, so you can put your shading in. Even though it's a fairly simple line art, just having those hatch marks and those shadow areas already done for you makes it so much easier to, as a colorist, to find where that light source is coming from, so you know where your lights and your darks and your undertones are going to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the few times that I actually do start coloring things, and one of my goals is, remember I told you that my Compass Rose books is my favorite book.
Mhm.
My ultimate goal is to color every single one of those 50 pages in the coloring book, but with my style and my coloring pencils and stuff like that. So I usually will look at a picture and start coloring and filling it in. And then at the last minute, I'll determine where the shadows are going to be and where the light is supposed to be focusing on.
Mhm.
And then I'll go back and start darkening those areas where the shadow is supposed to be to make it a little bit more three-dimensional.
Right. And what is your favorite media?
Right now, because of the restrictions I have with my materials and space and what I'm able to put in the very tiny little corner that I don't know if you could see it from here, but let me see if I could do this without.
She's got a coloring corner too.
See that little bitty desk right here beside my file
Yeah.
cabinets? That's my current art studio.
Oh dear.
An old 50, 60-year-old desk that my grandfather had a long time ago. And on the top shelf right here are all my pails and buckets and tin cans of pencils. And that's where I'm drawing right now, or coloring right now. Um, I've been trying all kinds of coloring pencil brands. But so far to date, the ones that I love are the Black Widow and Scorpion and Cobra pencils. And I think the reason is the colors that are in those pictures are so deep and intense that I
Yeah.
just love them.
And overall, ever need to have type of media or brand of media?
Uh, I honestly don't know. I've got just about I mean, I can't tell you how much money I've spent at Arteza and Michaels and Hobby Lobby and online with Amazon. If there's some kind of media that you can mention, I've got it. Acrylic paints and everything, but it's all in boxes packed away from the move that we made last August. So
Yeah.
um, I would probably say the most predominant media that I've used over my career as an artist is pen and ink.
Cool. And that's from drawing and writing and everything
Hmm.
else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything that you want to accomplish from with colorists and with coloring and your writing and everything else, bringing that all together into one book?
Oh, no, I haven't thought about anything with that, combo goal. Um, one goal that I'm going to working towards right now is all the sketches that I have for the Colonial Williamsburg area. I am planning to take all the illustrations that are in the 3 coloring books and put them into a hardcover sort of coffee table sort of like book. that I'm going to try to sell or put out on Barnes and Noble. And the reason I would put it out on Barnes and Noble instead of Amazon is that Barnes and Noble will offer me the option of making it into a hardcover book.
Right.
Right now, Amazon and Kindle Direct Publication don't have the hardcover option, although I have heard rumors of them starting a beta version of offering hardcover books. So that would be interesting
Yeah.
when that happens.
Well, and how far down the road are you looking to complete this book?
As soon as I finish the 50 illustrations for volume 3 of the coloring book, I should have 150 or more illustrations for the hardcover book.
Okay.
And it won't have a lot of the content and the text and stuff in there and the lists of all my coloring books that I have in my current coloring books. It'll be a sketchbook. It'll probably have like a 1 or 2 page introduction and then just the sketches in it, and just real simple. The Williamsburg illustrations, I also have them listed on Fine Art America. So if you liked any of those drawings or any of the illustrations, you could go on there and purchase them on shower curtains, cell phone covers, all kinds of different I guess promotional items. You could get them in metal prints, canvas, that sort of thing. So if you liked any of them and you wanted to purchase a fine art piece with the work on it, you can find my store on Fine Art America and purchase from there too.
Oh, wonderful. At the end of the video, what I'll do is I'll get all of that information and I'll tag it all in the about section below, so that anybody watching this video, if they're interested, they can definitely have that link available to them, and I'll just make sure that that's available. There was something else I was going to ask you, and I don't remember what it was. That's one of those wonderful things, is fly by the seat of your pants.
Yeah. On the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, exactly. And that is always happening to me. I will have it all there, and then my brain says, nope, by the way, I've gone over there now and I've done. Or I'm trying to say a word and I know the word. I can see the picture. I can, I know exactly what it is, but do you think I can say what it is? You have a little drawing of a little creature in one of your books. I still cannot say the word.
Is it an ermine, snow ermine, or a weasel?
Yes, that's it.
I was looking at it too, going, I forget what the name of it is.
Yeah, isn't that the way it is? It's like, I know what it is. I can see how it's colored. I can see all the hair in. I can't tell you what it is.
And I think those are predominantly up in Canada.
Yes, they are. I want to thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate you spending this hour with me. It has been an hour already. Wow.
Hour and a half almost. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've been filming for an hour, and we chatted for like a good 45 minutes beforehand. So it doesn't feel that long. But I want to thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate you coming on and sharing your wonderful art with us and sharing your story with us, and continue sharing your art with us, because it's fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous.
It was fun. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
And what we'll be doing is I've still got 2 more books to review and to put out the flip throughs for, and that will be coming. Hopefully they'll come in tomorrow so I can get that done for you. And then on Saturday, we always have a color and chat on Saturday. So if you want to join us for color and chat, you are more than welcome to do so. Just let me know. Well, you probably won't be in town.
I may not have any internet access.
You'll be tearing down drywall somewhere.
I'll be putting it up.
You'll be knocking plaster off walls. Well, when your renovations are all done, you are welcome to join us anytime during a Saturday color and chat, and we would be honored to have you with us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. To everybody out there, I want to thank you all very much for joining us. I do want to limit this to about an hour because my husband just came home and it is getting dinner time here. So,
Hi, husband. Thank you for letting me borrow her.
and of course, I've got children wandering around with dishes and things like that now because, they think that it's that time of day. But I want to thank everybody for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this segment and enjoyed getting to know one of our artists better. Dawn is in our Facebook group. So if you do have any questions for her or that sort of thing, post them in the Facebook group. She'll see them, and I'm quite sure she'll have great pleasure in answering them.
I love interacting with my peers and my fans.
Yes, absolutely. So if you do have any questions for her that I haven't already asked her or that she hasn't already answered for you, don't hesitate to give her a little bit of a PM or a little question in the Facebook group. And I will tag her in it or whatever, and she will see it. I'm absolutely sure of it. The most important thing of all, of course, is to like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already subscribed to the channel. I will be putting in Dawn's channel too, if she has one, in the About section below. So make sure you go over and take a look into her websites and take a look at her coloring books, as well as her other books. How many books do you have?
I've published over 860 books total, and there's 118 coloring books.
Wow.
My goal is 1,000 before I die.
Well, you are well on your way there, and I am quite sure that it will be accomplished before you can retire.
I hope so.
Oh, before you retire, before you reach that retirement aging. How's that? Of course, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell for both. Do you have your own YouTube channel?
I do. I do.
Okay.
In fact, we post videos of our renovations on our homes there.
Oh, wonderful. Actually, I think I have seen your YouTube channel. But I will link it down below so everybody else can see it too. Make sure you
Okay.
hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you can watch her renovations, and of course keep an eye on her wonderful books and when new ones come out so that we can have a head start on it. And of course, most importantly of all is relax, color, and stay safe. Thank you very much, you guys. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.